Hello, everyone, and here I am to share my thoughts and meditations on the 10 Commandments. Today I'm going to talk about the very last commandment, the second one that talks about coveting. Now, people remember, coveting isn't the same as wishing for. Coveting is wishing to have and wanting to have. There's a little bit of difference. Wishing for someone who is like, or something that is like another person or thing, is one thing. But wanting to have another person's spouse or property is a different thing, a very thing. Anyway, the 10th commandment. You shall not covet your neighbor's goods. In Proverbs 3, verse 29, it reflects that commandment. Don't plan any harm against your neighbor, for he trusts you and lives near you. Now, if you plan to take something or want to take something and thus plan to do so, that's a sin. It's breaking the commandment. Do not plan any harm against your neighbor, for he trusts you and lives near you. To covet, to want what your neighbor has, can lead to planning to take away what belongs to that neighbor. We see this also reflected in the New Testament, where in Galatians 5, it states in verse 5 to 13, or chapter 5, verse 13 to 15. For you are called to freedom, brothers. Only don't use this freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but serve one another through love. For the entire law is fulfilled in one statement: love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, watch out, or you will be consumed by one another. That means love your neighbor as yourself. Don't covet what that person has. Don't covet to the point where you plan to take it away. Coveting leads to evil planning. And there is yet another verse that I would like to share with you. It is in Romans. And it is in Romans chapter 13, 8 to 10. Do not owe anyone anything except to love one another, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. The commandments: do not commit adultery, do not murder, do not steal, do not covet. And if there is any other commandment, all are summed up by this: love your neighbor as yourself. The love does no wrong to a neighbor. Love, therefore, is the fulfillment of the law. Do not commit adultery. Do not murder. Do not steal. Do not covet. Those are laws that show love to one another. It shows our love for the law. Love, therefore, is the fulfillment of the law. Anyway, the commandment: thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. Those are my thoughts on the 10th commandment. A lot of people like to ignore these commands. Let us go through the entire 10 commandments in conclusion and summarize them. No gods beside me is the first one. He wants to be first in our hearts. And number 2, you shall not use God's name in vain. That means don't make false or improper oaths, or use God's name improperly. That is, to use it as a vulgar swear word or such. Remember to keep God's day holy. He asks us to do that in reverence to Him, to spend time with Him, whether it is in prayer or meditation, or to visit Him at His home, which is where we worship Him, and to rest like He rested. He wants this for our own good, to give our bodies a time to recover from the hardships of working, the labors that we bear. Honor your father and mother. Think of it this way: we are role models. And if by chance you became a father and mother, but didn't honor your own father and mother, That is the example you will be leaving your children, and they themselves may choose to not honor you or your spouse. And number 5, you shall not kill. When we kill, we are killing a creature that is made in the image of God Himself. It is an insult to God. You shall not kill. Plus, if we kill, the same will be dealt out to us. You shall not commit adultery. That's asked for actually for our protection, because many illnesses are spread through adultery. All the diseases, the sexually transmitted diseases, these can be reduced if you limit yourself to one committed partner. You shall not steal. Again, that is showing love for the neighbor. And again, what you do to others could end up happening to you. You wouldn't want to have someone steal something from you. So don't steal from another person. And number 8, you shall not lie. Think about this. When you lie and you're found out, how much are people likely to trust you? And how would you feel if people lied about you or about something else? So, you shall not lie. It's for your protection, that your whole, the word I'm trying to think of is, it's for your protection, so that people do not think bad about you and call you a liar. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. Coveting can cause trouble in more than one ways, especially when it's your neighbor's wife, and especially if you are yourself married. Imagine the discourse it would cause when your wife discovered that you coveted your neighbor's wife. And it goes both ways. The trouble it would cause if a husband found out they coveted, the wife coveted the neighbor's husband. And it could cause a lot of problems if your neighbor found out about it. It's for your own good. Because coveting a neighbor's spouse can cause a breakup and discord in the household. And number 10, you shall not covet your neighbor's goods, because coveting leads to evil thoughts, and those evil thoughts could lead to stealing. And as you should not covet or plan to steal or want to steal or take away your neighbor's properties, I bet you don't want them to have those thoughts about your property. In a way, it says it best in Romans 13. I'll repeat that. Romans 13:8 to 10. Do not owe anyone anything except to love one another. For the one who loves another has fulfilled the law, the commandments. Do not commit adultery, do not murder, do not steal, do not covet. Those laws show love. And if there is any other commandment, all are summarized up or summed up by this: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Love, therefore, is the fulfillment of the law. And that is what the commandments are. The total commandments. If you love your neighbor, you will fulfill those commandments. If you love God, you will fulfill those commandments. All 10 of those commandments. Not just one and be selective, but all 10. Jesus himself said, by following and fulfilling the commandments, you are doing God's will. And that if you even break one of them, it's like breaking all of them. Anyway, this is probably the longest video I've made, but I hope it helps you to understand and appreciate how important those 10 commandments are. I wish that people would be more diligent, especially those of us who are faithful to God, to put these commandments into their heart and fulfill them. It is through the fulfillment of God's commandments that we show love for God and for each other. As I stated before, the laws, the 10 commandments, were not given to us to oppress us or any nefarious or bad reasons to make us slaves to God. They are to guide us and to protect us, because each of those commandments has a purpose. Each of those commandments protects us. And they show us to God our love for Him. He wants us to love Him. That's why the very first commandment is, have no other gods before me. He wants us to love Him. And too often we make other things our gods, such as money, people, activities. He wants us to be first in His life. And to be first in His life, we're going to listen to and try and keep the things He asks us to do. Anyway, that is my summary of the 10 commandments and the 10th commandment. I guess I've bored you all enough on the 10 commandments. Feel free to give your thoughts and share them. And feel free to share these videos to others. May God bless you, dear viewers, and keep you safe in His loving embrace. Take care.